Welcome to Agentic Edge, where we explore the frontier of AI agents, enterprise orchestrations, and the architectures that are shaping tomorrow's intelligent enterprises. Today's episode is a little bit different. Kate, why is today's episode different?
Okay, well, over the last few months, we ran the Agentic Bounty Challenge, which was entirely designed to inspire our Automation Anywhere Pathfinder community members to think beyond just simple task automation and really begin to think about how they can create goal-based AI agents that are designed to take on real-world business challenges.
That's right. Take a real business challenge, apply agentic process automation to it, and build something that could actually solve an interesting problem. So, in this episode, we are going to be talking to some of the participants who participated in our challenge. And they're going to take us through the problem that they chose, the outcome that they optimized for, how their agent works behind the scenes, and what they learned by building their agent.
I'm super excited about this part. We've had some awesome conversations so far with our technical leaders on their vision for agentic capabilities. But here's our first moment where we're going to see people actually putting those capabilities to action. So let's talk to our first participant who built a really interesting solution around capturing, analyzing, and making sense of feedback in the form of product reviews. We are super excited to have you here. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jenna. I work for the University of Phoenix as an IT engineer and sometimes also as a data engineer. I'm really excited to be here. It's been really fun to be part of the contest and to learn more about Automation Anywhere.
We're super excited that you submitted a solution. And that brings me to my first question. Tell us about your submission.
So I was looking at different business problems and having a background in data, I decided to go with product review data because every company has product review data. And so what it does is it takes in product review data and then it'll create two different things for you. So first thing, it'll create a CSV that has a new column with sentiment analysis where it reads all of the text, and then it'll give you like a one if it's positive, -1 if it's negative, the 0 for neutral. And then it creates actionable insights for the 3 most reviewed products. So it'll be, hey, I've noticed these time periods, there's more action. You really should do bigger sales during this time, or separating your audience with high and low ratings. Maybe you want to look at your advertisement. So that's what I mean.
Why AI agents in this case, Jenna? What was it about this that you said, I think this is an AI agent use case versus something that I would just build with an automation?
Oh, because if you do sentiment analysis type things by hand, that takes forever. But AI is actually really, really good at that, even from early on when you're just using the old neural networks, like way back when you had to use glove files because it couldn't use the embeddings and stuff like that. AI has been really, really good at that. And so that was kind of one of the first things I was like, okay, it's going to be amazing and it's going to be able to do this really, really well. And then the insights, like you guys have your platform set up really well to be able to put the forms back. But like AI, the LLMs are really good at taking in that kind of information and looking at it piecewise and then saying, okay, let me put this together and give you a synopsis of what you're seeing and what maybe you should do about that.
Very cool. When you're building an AI agent, obviously you have to add lots of tools for that agent to be able to use in order to solve its problem at hand. I noticed you used, I would say, a different variety of tools than we saw other people use, which I thought was really exciting. You did a lot with Python scripting as a part of one of the tools that your agent was able to use. So talk me through the decisioning there, what tools you created, kind of why you went the Python route on some and not on others.
So the Python scripting is probably my favorite part of working with Automation Anywhere, because if there's not a specific tool that's doing exactly what I want, I can just write a Python script. And so one of the main reasons that I use that was for formatting changes, is that if I wanted to be sure that it was sorting the data exactly, Python is really good at data sorting. It has like its pandas, it's got polars, it's got all sorts of different packages. It's also really easy for somebody to set up since Python is free to download. And it's fairly easy to tell somebody how to, like in this case, you have to pip install pandas. That's a pretty easy thing to explain in the documentation exactly how to do that. So that was one of the main reasons that I chose Python, because it would be really easy to get anybody that wants to use it up to date really fast, but mainly because I wanted to be able to sort the data very exactly so that it could operate in different ways. And that way it made it a lot easier to make it so that you could use either CSV or JSON files.
Love it. Yeah, I like the diversity of that and the ability to execute all of these different languages, right? If you're a Java developer, build a package. If you're a Python developer, build a script. You can use that in addition to all of the out-of-box packages and actions and capabilities that you can use. Talk to me about reliability strategies. I know this was a shorter-term project, so you maybe didn't get to expand it all the way out. But talk to me about how you think about some of those things when it comes to human in the loop, guardrails, data masking, anything like that.
Oh my goodness. So the thing that because we've been working actually a lot at work with kind of automations and some of those things. I think that human in the loop in general is the biggest advantage that people forget, especially with AI additions and with automations, because they're always like, oh, legal will never approve that. But the number one thing is just any point before you hit send, just stop it and have a human look at it. Like, just have it stop at a box and have the human have to push the button that says approve. And that's one of the great things about how you can pull up so much of the data. Have it pull up a window that says, this is the reason I'm making these decisions. And then it's way faster for the person because they don't have to match everything. But there's that human right there saying, okay, I've seen this, we're moving it on. And once you trust that it's doing this correctly after, 1,000 files, then sometimes you can say, okay, we're fine, just automate this part.
That sounds like the exact scenario we've heard time and time again. Test it, use human in the loop. And once you've built that confidence, you are ready to automate it completely. So you're in good company with that train of thought. All right, Jenna, now that you've had a chance to build this once, thinking to the future, if you had more time and more resources, what would you do different to improve this?
Oh, I would love to go back and update some of the ways that I pulled some of the data, because I feel like I could have brought even more into what the agent could look at. Because one of the best ways to give the agent data right now is to give it like kind of a JSON string. I feel like I could have said, why don't we give it just the product ID and then just the text, and just the product ID and just the ratings. And if I had more time, I would have loved to build in more options for more columns you could have included. And I think I could have made it run faster too if I could have gone back and said, do you want sentiment analysis on the entire file, or do you want it only on these? Because then we could have just made a branch in there that, did one based on what you checked on the box. But those are some of the things that I would have added in if I just had more time and space to work on this.
Love it. A little more configuration options. Already thinking about what V2 would be like. That's great.
Well, Micah and I wanted to have all the finalists on, but the truth is, you're not really just a finalist. You are our third place winner. So congratulations.
Hey! Woo!
Super excited. I mean, this was a really fun solution to look at. Your video was great, and we really appreciate your contributions. I mean, I know you kind of first popped up on our radar at Summit, joining a bunch of our sessions and being really engaged with what we were doing there. But this is great to see that you've taken it to the next level and started to build stuff on your own and submitted this agent. So great to have that contribution, and we couldn't be happier to have you.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. Oh, that's super exciting. Thanks.
What I really loved about Jenna's solution is that she was very technical with what she built. She got on and did a bunch of Python scripting, which I think is awesome. And that really speaks to the flexibility of the Automation Anywhere agentic process automation build experience. We want to take you to another solution that we really liked. And this one, because it started to use a bunch of applications that people are very familiar with. Everyone has had to use Salesforce. And so this next solution integrates well with Salesforce, as well as a RAG solution to be able to build an end-to-end agentic process.
Omkar, welcome to the podcast. We are super excited to have you here today. Why don't you introduce yourself to the community?
Yeah, sure. My name is Omkar Mahajan. I have 5+ years of experience, and specifically for the RPA industry, I'm currently working here in Exalt Technology and Services as a lead engineer, and my main job is figuring out the requirements and working on the architecture or all the stuff I usually do in my daily life.
Awesome. Okay. So we were super impressed by your submission for the Agentic Bounty Challenge. So why don't you tell our audience all about it?
Yeah, sure. My use case is specifically targeting a transit industry and even focus on Indian, you can say, terrain, because our metro infra is currently getting upgraded. Multiple things are added. So I thought, okay, hey, let's utilize this for something like this. So what my agent do in a metro, whenever there is a staff, if it reports any incident, then my agent will look into a user manual. So basically there are two different user manuals. One is a business user manual and another one is disaster management user manual. So it usually goes there, then it identifies, hey, what are the next action I need to take. Based on that, it identifies those, it creates necessary task for those, and it will get assigned to appropriate people. So first of all, one problem which usually happens is solved here, that is a traceability. So whatever the things are happening, we are logging everything in a Salesforce. Once it created a different task, it will create a work order as well. And if particular part needs replacement, then it will go for a purchase order as well. But before purchase order, it also checks, hey, what is the order history? A particular part A has been ordered before. If yes, then it usually checks, hey, how many times it's being ordered. Let's say it ordered 2 times. Then all the details where what usually shows you there, that hey, it is being ordered at this many places. Even you can get a Salesforce link as well over there, so that if you wanted to take a quick look over there, they can check. Then user can also respond over it, whether user needs to order that part once again, or it needs to change the quantity, anything. So based on the user query, it will either go for a purchase order, or it will just stop there. And once everything is completed, then it will also provide you a summary that, okay, during the execution, what are the different steps has been completed. So it will basically give a user an overall summary saying that, hey, this is what I have achieved during the entire execution.
Very cool. Omkar, I loved your solution and I love the submission. Talk to me about why AI agents here. What about this process to you said, hey, I need something beyond just linear deterministic automations and I need an AI agent to solve this?
To answer your question, I would like to go for an analogy here. Consider, train versus a car with a GPS. Now, just train is more like a traditional method, and here car with a GPS is representing AI agents. So train needs to follow a route. If there is any roadblock, it will stop there. Even if the station is next to you, you cannot do anything because the road is not clear for you. So there is no any alternate route you can take. However, the car with the GPS is do have a fixed goal. If it identifies, hey, there is a roadblock, okay, then what? Then from that particular point, what next route I can take? It can judge that, and on the basis of that, it can take the action. So AI agents are somewhat similar. So it gives you a flexibility. So the main difference is about the rigidity versus flexibility here.
So, a use case about transit and an analogy about transit. Bonus points for Omkar on being able to describe that. Talk to me about the reliability strategies, right? Where do we need guardrails? Where do we need a human in the loop? Where do these kind of things fit in with your solution?
Whenever we are implementing any AI solution, the guardrails are most important. So in this particular case, whenever my AI agent goes into a purchase order section, it makes sure what was ordered before. So even if we have, let's say, 10 or 20 parts need to order at a single time, it will still check the history that, hey, from part A till part Z has been ordered before. If it is, then it will first of all verify it from the user, and then only it will order. On the top of that, there is a approved product list is also attached to knowledge base. So if anything is out of those product list is coming, then bot is not going to process that, but it will follow a certain route, a regular route, or the way how the manual work is currently going on. So these two guardrails are mainly being implemented here.
Awesome. Okay. So you created this agent in a short amount of time for the Agentic Bounty Challenge. If you were to have more time and resources, where would you take this next? How would you expand it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Currently, a single agent is doing all the job. Rather than, I would like to make it multi-agent architecture. For example, a purchase order thing will be done by a single agent. The inventory management can be handled by a single agent. Likewise, we can distribute it. Then the second one is, currently, once the incident is reported, then only agent is acting. But rather than that, what if we attach it to like a command center? There are certain areas where command center is available, where if there is any particular sensor, if it is failing and if it is behaving slightly different than the normal, then we can take action then and there. We can create a work order. We can go and find what are the next troubleshooting steps that can be taken. So rather than going for a management, we can go and do a mitigation. Those are the two main things we can do with this. And the third thing, the country like India, it is a multilingual. So here we can provide a multilingual support as well. So if there is any person, if he's trying to provide any query in his native language, still we can parse it. Even the business manuals not necessarily needs to be in English. It can be in any language. So we can solve that problem as well through this.
I love that. Okay, so I know we told you that we were interviewing you as a finalist, but the truth is you are actually our second place winner. Congratulations.
Oh, that's great.
We are super excited about your submission and how thoughtful you were with it.
Hey, thanks, Micah, and thanks, Kate, for this.
Yeah, we absolutely loved your submission. I thought it was great. What I really liked was the storytelling that really would connect people to the agent that you built and the solution that you're providing. So I thought that was excellent. Omkar absolutely crushed it. I love the analogy that was a transit analogy for a transit use case. I really like that. So great explanation of the solution that Omkar built. If you're working in tech, as many of our listeners are, you have most likely dealt with having to do a Kanban board and working in sprints and agile development. The last solution that we want to highlight is called the Sprint to Jira AI agent. And I'm super excited about this solution from Ganesh because it's all about using an AI-powered agent that can convert sprint planning discussions into epics, stories, and tasks, all with human in the loop. If you've worked in agile development, this will definitely hit home with you.
Hey, Ganesh, it is awesome to have you here on the podcast. We were super, super pumped about your submission for the Agentic Bounty Challenge. Why don't you introduce yourself to the community?
Myself, Ganesh Bhat, and I'm having totally 8 years of experience in AI and automation. My journey started with RPA, but from 2 years, right, I'm more into the AI and agentic use cases. And I'm working as a senior technical lead at Novasio Solutions from past 2 years.
Fantastic. Okay. Also, you didn't mention you are one of our most valuable Pathfinders.
Yes,
So
exactly.
Ganesh he's been an amazing contributor for the last few years, and we are just really excited about your submission. So on that note, why don't you share a little bit about what you submitted?
So basically, if you see in the entire world with the software industry or any manufacturing or hardware, the planning is very important. So as part of the planning, every industry is adapted to the agile methodology. So entire 8 to 12 weeks of the work, they have to plan in 2 days. And after the plan, they have to organize all those unstructured data. Just imagine, maybe they will go to the boardroom and the whiteboard, they will write something and they have to just come to the home or come to the office and they have to redo that in the Jira or maybe the DevOps board or some other management tool. So that is very tedious task for Scrum Masters as well as product owners. Not only them, right? So because they have to connect with a lot of people, so their time is very important in the PIs. So in that case, our agent will go and it will read an information from that unstructured data. It might be your personal notes. Just you have to take the screenshot and get the data back and just feed it to the agent. as well as maybe it's unstructured email from your product department or product owners, and also maybe the meeting transcripts, right? All those unstructured data, just you have to give it to the agent, and agent will take care, and it will plan and decide. After decision, it will also take the human as a human in a loop, then react based on whatever the plan the agent is done. So that's my submission.
I love this. Yeah, and I think it definitely hits home for a lot of people who have worked in development for quite a while or worked
Yes.
in Scrum teams, because this is definitely a challenge that they face. Talk to me about why AI agent here, right? Why couldn't this have been done previously? Why does this require an AI agent?
Yeah, this is a great question, Michael. If you just think about the PI planning data, it's very huge. Not just one page or a two page or one email or a two email. It is a total conversation, maybe the meeting invite, meeting transcript, or maybe some of the informations it's in the whiteboard. All those unstructured data cannot be handled by normal automation. Yes, automation is good for the structural data or structural step-by-step information, but here in this agent, this is not just like one way communication, right? It has to plan. After the plan, need to take a decision, as well as just imagine in a traditional planning, they have to go and check what is exactly the resource availability for the entire sprint. This agent can do that activity also. Just go to the HR portal and see who are all in the leave, and just take the information and decide who is expert in what and assign them particular task, right? So entire plan, decision, and the execution, everything can be taken care only by PRE agents, not by the task. So that's why, again, saying by the task, maybe we can automate 10% of the entire project, but not end to end solution, right? So that's why we need an agent here.
Yeah, I like that. And I think because it's dynamic, right? I could have stories,
Yes,
but I don't necessarily always have the same number of stories every single time and not the same story points and things like that. So I think this does a great job of that dynamic planning and execution. Talk to me
right.
about some of the reliability strategies here. Guardrails, human in the loop, data masking. Where do those things come in?
So the customer data, or whenever we are having some of the personal informations, or maybe some costing, the pricing part, all those informations are actually having a layer of guardrails. So we are using a guardrails to make sure all the customer information, PII, PHI, all those informations will be stay back in your own control room or in your own platform. It will not go beyond that. So that is what we have added, as well as the human in a loop. Whenever some rules may conflict, that time, or a confidence level is very low for the agent, that time it will go to the human in a loop and take the approval or necessary edits from the human, right? So that is what we have implemented in this particular agent.
Ganesh, I know you, and I bet you have some additional ideas for what you would do with this if you had more
Yeah.
time and resources. Tell us what you would do next.
Yes, definitely. So a lot of other tools are there in the market. So I wanted to make it this agent should work as a dynamic for any of the tool if they wanted to use. So just they have to plug in and just execute the agent. Agent will work as it is, same like a Jira platform, right? So that's my idea. When it comes to the improvements in this particular agent, the feedback, the particular organization will have something called the uniqueness, right? So every PI will have the same uniqueness in the organization. So once the fresh agent may not have that intelligence, but going forward, right? So next PI or the next sprint, it should analyze the old sprint data and analyze the old PI discussions. Then it should give the replay back, or it should execute the plan based on that past information from the human. So that is what my idea, adapt to the different tools in the market, as well as the next thing, the feedback loop from the human, so that it will improve over the time and it will give you good responses. And it's a benefit, right? So saving the hours for the managers, scrum masters, product owners, it's a good for companies.
I love
Absolutely.
that. Just agile development, right? Looking to get better over time and be more efficient and
Yes,
improve. I also want to
exactly.
recognize the fact that I thought your storytelling on the submission was excellent. When
Thank
people
you.
go and find this solution on our Agentic App Store, previously known as Bot Store, they'll be able to see how you talk about the solution, the problem that it solves, and the benefit that they can achieve from that.
Okay, Ganesh. So I know we told you that we were interviewing all the finalists, but the truth is we actually were interviewing our winners, and you are our first place winner. Congratulations.
Oh my God. Seriously?
Yeah,
Oh,
Seriously,
congratulations,
nice.
man.
Thank you. Thank you.
really
Okay.
love your submission. It was
Oh,
across the
great.
board. Everyone, have you seen this one? It's awesome.
Oh, nice.
It was the practicality of it, I think the storytelling, and you were really able to articulate why an AI agent is needed here, which I think was excellent. And it shows a great use case. And I hope that people will go and download this, check it out, see how you built it, see how the process works, see how all of the tools work in coordination with the agent. Very well done.
I am super energized by the enthusiasm from our community, but also I was just so impressed by the solutions they built and shared. It's super cool to see so many of the agentic capabilities we've been talking about, especially coming from someone who's non-technical, to see this come and be a real life now. Like they've already created them. Somebody can
Absolutely.
access them right now.
Yeah, I love that. And I think one of the things that's really great about this is the storytelling around this Agentic Bounty challenge, because everyone who built and submitted some kind of solution, they talked about what was the problem they recognized and how they chose to solve it with AI agents. And I think that really helps you to get a good understanding of what the agent is doing, why the agent exists, and what problem it's trying to solve. Now, the best part about all of these, though, is that all of the submissions that we talked about today, in addition to a bunch more that we didn't get to highlight, are available on Automation Anywhere's Agentic App Store absolutely for free. You can go check out all of the videos for all of these solutions and many more. You can download the solutions and really start to understand how these agents work for yourself.
I couldn't agree more. There's so many other solutions that we went through, and we would love to spotlight today in this episode. It was tough just picking a few of the agents to represent here because there was so many high quality submissions. We've got an amazing community.
That's it for the Agentic Edge. If you're curious about any of the AI agents that we talked about today and even more, we'll have a link in the show notes, or you can go to pathfinder.automationanywhere.com and click on the link in the top menu for Agentic App Store to see all of those submissions. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one.